Just like every day, he shows me that he's my best friend and that he loves me. And that's what I've always wanted, is to be able to marry my best friend.
Hello. I've been wondering all these years you'd like me to go over everything. Well, once upon a time in a very faraway land. Just kidding. So, like, it was 2 years ago.
His roommates were actually my home teachers.
I heard my other friends talking about how cute she was. I'm like, shoot, I gotta get to know this girl. You know, like, I want to know who she is.
I had a problem with my car, like the power steering fluid was low or something, and I needed to check it. I didn't know how, so I asked Mark and Wesley. They were like, I don't know how.
I'm not a car person at all. Like, I know nothing about cars. I'm like, shoot, this is my in. So I'm like, I can help you. Like, I didn't know anything.
I didn't know then, but now I know that he didn't actually know anything about cars.
I'm a programmer, so I use Google for everything. So I Googled the problem on her car, and it didn't let me down. Like, when I went to help her out, I knew what was wrong and stuff, so that was cool. But then I asked her on a date.
I didn't realize it, but it was the same night as a Chinese food buffet thing with my Chinese class. And for some reason, I thought I had enough time to, like, go up there, eat, and come back in an hour. I've learned my lesson. But so he thought I stood him up, and so I came back with like huge boxes full of Chinese food, and I went and knocked on his door, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like, I'm sorry I stood you up, I feel really bad. Do you want to have some Chinese food leftovers with me?
You know, that's awesome. She's an awesome girl. So I started pursuing her right then, I think. That's when I realized that she was someone I wanted to get to know.
He was just really sweet, and I felt like I didn't deserve someone like him because he was just the nicest guy.
We started going on dates. She didn't really want to date me, but I'm kind of persistent. So I was chasing her.
And I was like, okay, but I just want to be friends. That's what I need for right now. And he was like, okay, that's fine. And then, like, we became best friends. He took me to my first Comic-Con.
We went to Comic-Con together, and I think that was when I really realized how much I enjoyed being with her. I never thought I would ever go to a Comic-Con. But just watching her and how excited she was at everything, and I was like, this feels good. Following around and seeing how happy she was, I was like, I really like this.
And then I started dating someone else after, like, a lot of, like, praying and thought and stuff like that. Like, we went on so many walks and talked about it, and I was like, I feel like this is something I need to do. And then the guy and I broke up, and like 2 weeks later, Corbin's like, hey, you want to go on a date? And I was like, I'm not really ready for that yet, like, still hurting.
The main reason I asked her on a date right then was because I was about to start dating another girl, but I wanted to see if anything would happen between me and Amanda, but she wasn't ready, and things were progressing with this other girl, so I started dating her. 3 days or so after I start dating her, Amanda calls me.
And then I plucked up my courage, and I was like, you know, I'll ask Corbin on a date, because he's such a nice guy, and it'll be so much fun. So I asked him on a date.
I'm like, shoot, if you would have asked me like a week earlier, I would have done it. But, so I started dating this other girl.
I told him he needed to find someone who would love him and treat him as well as he treats everyone else.
We saw each other just randomly on campus. She was like, are you sure this is what you want? Kind of thing. Is this girl the one that makes you happy? And so I started praying about it, and things were always rocky with this other girl. And time passed. Beginning of April, I broke up with her.
We started going on dates again, and on my birthday we went skydiving.
And I was crying like a baby the whole time. Like, I was like, ah! But she was like the brave one, you know. She was sitting by the door, and I was sitting in front of her, and so I couldn't see her. The door opens, and I hear her start freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, my little rock right there just gave through. And we solidified a really good friendship. Like, I can honestly say she's my best friend forever, you know. Like, she's all I need.
We were up on the Y one night talking, and I turned and looked at him, no, I want to marry you. Like, you're the person I want to marry. Just kind of was taken aback, and it was really cute. And he took his time, like, deciding to marry me. He's like, I don't know, I'm like praying about it and stuff. I just want to make sure. But, you know, I just really want to make sure. I'm like, why don't you propose already? Like, let's just get married.
She started talking about like getting married and stuff, and I had just like we had just started dating like a month and a half before officially. So I'm like, wait, but it was right. It just felt right.
I did this cute proposal on the Y, like right where I realized that I wanted to marry him. I can always tell when he's trying to surprise me with something. But he actually surprised me. He tricked me into thinking that we were getting ready for the temple, but he was taking me on a date. But then we actually went to the temple. He said we could go to McDonald's afterwards because I really wanted a soda. And then someone called and said that their car had broken down. He distracted me by being like, oh, I hear there's a lot of like Magikarp up here by the temple. I was like, oh, cool. So I like bring out my phone and I'm trying to catch Magikarp, but there are none. So we're driving around and I'm being like a little brat, being like, oh, we didn't get my soda because we have to go jump their car. I'm like, I'm so thirsty. And then we pull up and like the truck's there with its hood popped. Right next to it there's this table with these like candles on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be jump starting this super loud truck right next to these poor people trying to have a cute date. And Corbin's like, hey, do you remember the first place you realized that you wanted to marry me? And I'm like, yeah, it's like right up there. And he's like, yeah, it was. And like looks at me all like meaningfully. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wait a second, it's happening right now. See these candles and flower petals like leading over to the table, and we start walking out there and I'm like, oh, this is it, like this is real life. I just remember him saying how he was happy and he wanted to be happy with me forever, and then he proposed. I said yes. That I would change, 'cause you're amazing. His favorite part is that I like jumped on his lap. Because I was like, I just didn't want to like, I just hid my face in his like jacket and stuff. Because I was like, I just want to hug him. The whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing. Just the way you are.
Okay. Whew. Hi, Amanda. This is, this is a little scary to be saying this straight out.
What if I cry? No!
I love you with all my heart. Like, I've told you before, but I've cried more in the last, 3 months than I ever have before. Not because, anything's wrong. It's just, I love you so much.
Corbin, I want you to know that I will always be there for you.
You make me happy. You make me happy when skies are gray.
I know that sometimes I'm spoiled and sometimes you give up a lot for me, but I feel like you'll never know how much you mean to me.
I'm excited and I love us. The best thing about us is that we can do anything together. We believe in each other, we support each other, we understand each other, we can work through anything together.
You make me feel like the most amazing person in the world, and I want to make sure that I can do that for you too.
And you've been my safe place, and I hope I'm your safe place.
I want you to know that I believe you can take over the world and do anything. I want to be by your side supporting you the whole time.
I just want to promise you that I'm always going to be here for you.
I promise to always make you laugh when you're stressed, and to always calm you down when you're upset, and to always be there to love you and make you feel like the most amazing guy in the world.
I promise I'll always love you, cherish you, and adore you, and help you when you're sad or struggling, just as you help me.
You're my hero and my best friend, and I couldn't live life without you. I'm glad that we have forever together. We're gonna have so much fun. I love you.
I promise that one day we'll have kids and more cats, dogs, everything that you bring home from the shelter. You're the perfect person for me. I'm so excited to spend forever with you. I love you, Nada.
Baby, we